Hi, I'm Rainer, and welcome to my train room. Today I have this Roundhouse caboose kit. It's an old style Canadian Pacific caboose. Picked this kit up somewhere along the line over the last year. Don't quite remember where. But I thought I would pull it out and see what it takes to get it up and running. I have not opened the box before this, other than to see it where I got it. So it looks like a brand new kit. It just needs to be assembled. I don't know how complex it's going to be. Doesn't look like it'll be too terribly difficult. But I thought it would be a nice caboose to run behind my Canadian Pacific steam engine, because it's a old style caboose and be a lot more appropriate than anything else I have. So let's see what this looks like and what it's like to put together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a rough weight of what this thing actually weighs, major components. So I'll put all the metal weights and these detail parts in here, and the railings, screws, all the body parts. And, maybe half of these, because I'm not going to be using the sprues, but some of the parts should give me some idea. And overall, this is going to be about a 5-inch car. So the NMRA weighting would say that, according to the NMRA specs, it should be 1 ounce plus half an ounce for each inch of car length. So at 5 inches, that's 2.5 ounces plus the 1 ounce initial weight. So it should be 3.5 ounces, and we're at 2.3. So I need to add a little bit more than 1 ounce of weight to the car. And so I'm going to get some of my lead wheel weights, and I think I'll add probably add 4, maybe 5 of them, and see what the weight looks like. So this caboose was overall a fairly straightforward kit to build, but it does take a little bit more effort and more steps than something like some of the Athearn Blue Box kits. The bottom of it has a little bit more detail, so it has these truss rods at the bottom that are actually thread. And so what you have to do is you have to feed them through, and it's just one piece. So you have to glue these pieces on the bottom and then run this thread through back and forth through the bottom. And it's got fairly clear instructions of how to do it. What I did was I taped it in place, and then I actually used some drops of super glue on each of the places where it makes contact with the supports or the bottom of the train car, so it doesn't loosen or fall out or anything like that. It does have a pile of detail parts on it, so it has little metal grab rails here on the side and on the back of the car. And when I was putting those in place so that the rails wouldn't sit totally flat against the car, I just used like doubled up little pieces of construction paper to slide in there to hold them away from the car while the glue set to hold them in place. The the little railings and the brake wheel supports and things like that are all little metal parts on them. So again, some fairly reasonable detail level in these, but not difficult to assemble at all. I put metal wheels in the trucks. The weights on the bottom go on basically between the body of the car and the floor or the frame. So I put them in, and I actually glued them in place because I didn't want them to shift at all and be rattling around. And then the extra lead wheel weights that I put in the car, I actually put them in the middle of the body of the car, put them in the body of the car, and then put a little bit of super glue on them to make sure they don't shift around. Now, one thing I also did that wasn't part of the car was I put in this, on the lower part here, on the main part of the car, I actually put in windows, and it was just some kind of opaque. Actually, they were some plastic laminating sheet, and it ends up looking like frosted glass. So I put that in on the bottom part of the train car so it doesn't just look like open window holes, especially because there's lead wheel weights inside. So I didn't want it to be visible that there's lead wheel weights inside. So if I wanted to make more effort, I suppose I could have built an interior for it. I could have run wiring in to put interior lighting in the car and things like that. But I just decided not to do that on this one. I just wanted to get the car up and running. Of course, I didn't put in the plastic couplers. I put in the metal knuckle couplers and everything else. Now, one thing that was a little bit odd to me was that this chimney pipe at the top here was supposed to go in the roof, but there was no, at least in my model, there was no hole in the roof at all for the chimney. So I just drilled a hole and put it in. There are a few things that I still need to do on this, and one of the things that I want to do is just a little bit of weathering on it because this roof is just too shiny and plasticky looking for my liking. And I think if I just do a little bit of light weathering on it, I don't want to do too much, but if I just do a little bit of light weathering on it, I think it'll look a lot more believable. And for now, though, with the extra weight in it, the metal wheels, the proper couplers on it, it's actually a really nice running caboose. And so I think it's a good partner to go with my one CP rail steam engine. So whenever I feel like I want to run steam locomotives on my layout, it's nice to have some of these older school wooden cabooses to go with those locomotives. So anyway, great little kit. Not terribly difficult to assemble. Like I said, it does have a little bit finer details than your typical ACHB Blue Box kits, considering it has the metal separate rails and a separate ladder that you have to glue on, and the brake wheels are not, some molded lump stuck in there. It's a little plastic wheel on a metal shaft, and so it does have some extra details. So I think with a little bit of weathering, the next time I have my airbrush going with, and I'm doing some weathering, it's kind of not worth pulling it out for just doing one car because of all the cleaning and waste that happens. So I think once I have a few cars that I want to weather, I will do this at the same time. definitely I'm going to keep my eyes open. I might even buy another one of these if I see one and build it, because it's a nice little caboose. Thanks for watching. See you next time.